Yeah, so I'm not sure what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. I just want to turn the stream on. I thought about maybe doing some D&D stuff tonight. I don't know. So I just usually I approach this thing where I'm like, okay, I'm going to stream Heroes, and this is going to be the stream. I'm going to do this thing. I'm doing it reverse. I'm just turning the stream on just because it's been a shitty week for Heroes, which is half of my hobbyist life. And I'm feeling... See, I was pretty upset yesterday. Like a lot of us who do this, spend a lot of time in that game and discussing it and trying to understand it and consuming content and making some of my own. And very disheartening news. I thought on a sleep I'd feel better because we did the show an hour and a half after the news dropped, and I knew I wanted to get my feelings on the record at that time before I had a chance to edit myself, I guess, and be reasonable. But I find myself still feeling kind of crummy today, honestly. I want to say I feel worse today, except I've been reading Reddit, I've been watching people's statements and checking out Twitter, and I can't really say like I slept on it and cleared my head. In fact, I've probably been steeped in a lot of commentary to the contrary, which, you know, has its influence on your mood and your perspective, and just sort of taking it all in. And even personalities or folks that I don't necessarily identify with, I've been, watching and taking their opinions in and stuff like that. And I don't know. It's really hard for me personally. A lot of what I've seen is a lot of, bravado and wholeheartedness with respect to the game. We'll keep playing. And I don't want to say like that's come to some big decision about it or anything like that, but I've been a part of too many games that are unloved by the people who are maintaining it. Even if they do love it, they're technically unloved, I guess you could say. Like, the fact is there are probably many personalities at a company, and those things that don't get the attention that you would want may be loved by the people who did work on them or who are maintaining them. But at the end of the day, video game development is extremely human resource intensive, talent intensive, financially intensive, and if it doesn't get the water it needs, the players go away, and in these online experiences, the community is part of it. So I don't know. I'm looking at 40 next fall, and I've been very fortunate to get to work with Scott and John and to do that. And really that's what I like doing. Is I like, doing podcasts, I like doing shows. I enjoy streaming, I guess, which is why I'm not really playing a game right now. I'm just kind of hanging out and talking. So I don't know what that means. Certainly I really like going to BlizzCon, and I really like getting the time to chat with developers and do fun things. So I don't, that may all still remain for the game. Like, it's the one thing that's sort of different. The thing that and I don't know if I expressed this on the show this week or not, but the thing that I was really disappointed in the alleged news of Diablo 3 having the expansion canceled right with the successful launch of Reaper, because I was really, really into Diablo 3. Like, I didn't really get into hardcore during Diablo 3's initial launch. And with Reaper, so this counts as streaming, Monica? Cool. I didn't put a game on it or anything, so I shouldn't be discoverable. Like, I'm not in some weird violation of Twitch rules, hopefully. But I didn't put just chatting. I guess I should just put just chatting. That's what it's for. So maybe I'll just do that. I don't know. I don't know that anyone would want to swing by. Anyways, I was really disappointed in the lack of wait, now I'm setting it to just chatting because my brain can only handle. Is it IRL or just chatting? Just chatting. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just chatting. There's no drops for just chatting, but it's fine. I was really disappointed. No, wait. Let me reframe that. When Reaper of Souls came out, I got super into playing hardcore mode. And I was the 216th player to kill Malthael on Torment 10 in North America. Which is, it's not number one. It's not something really to brag about, but it also just, I think, might underscore for anyone that, like, I was super into. I wasn't really racing either, but I was trying. I was kind of, sure. I don't think, like, I didn't get up in the morning and take any days off work to do it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But, I went at it. I went at Diablo, and I played it pretty hardcore for a while, and I have a TW. Yeah, you should be able to close that. Maybe I should turn off the overlay since it's not really relevant. I mean, the extension, I think you mean, right? Yeah, we don't really need the extension on. How do I turn it off? Oh, here we go. Sorry. I keep let myself oh lordy, there it is. They need a better way to just make this a little easier to access from. Alright, it's turned off, guys. Okay. I mean, yeah, it was supposed to be there just because I think when I was streaming there will be Dungeons content. I just kept it on. It doesn't record or actually embed in the video. It's just there. Anyways, I was super into Diablo 3, and I remember it was around that time too. We started playing with Scott, and Core was spooling up, and I know that I was on the Gamers Inn. I mean, I'm on the Gamers Inn, I think, almost every year for the past 4 years. I might have missed a year. My first BlizzCon. I don't think Ryan Murphy and I did a show, but we do our like prediction things. And I remember every time I was like, expansion's got to be coming. Like Reaper of Souls literally ends on a yes, we'll see you next time in the next game. Like there's just no way to misinterpret that really short, curt ending. Like yeah, we'll see you soon for the next expansion. Like there's no way. Right? And we didn't hear, in fact, we haven't heard officially about this, I don't think, from Blizzard. We heard rumor and speculation in an article from a credible journalist, reportedly credible. I'm not saying he is, but others say he's a credible journalist, well-researched, blah, 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 blah. Saying it got canned right around the Reaper of Souls being released, and that to me is like, that to me is kind of, I think, an expectation I put on Blizzard. I think it came at the onset of Hearthstone because I had come from Magic the Gathering and playing that, and I'd seen just how like there's always a community and tournament system, and there's just a community driven love for that game. That you can, if you want to play Magic now, you can find a store probably in your city that's hosting a tournament that'll have people who geek out with you about it, and that's just there. And it's been, how old is Magic? 20 years? 25? Like it's been around for a long time. The game continues to foster its community. In addition to printing its game, Magic is not taking their Magic money and rushing off and building some other random game. Or saying this is a loss leader. Like I'm sure that business has gone through ebbs and flows, and it seems like it's do or it always seems like it's do or die. Like I know Wizards has other brands and stuff like that, but Magic is huge, and they do put a lot of work into keeping it there. And I guess once Hearthstone had like started, and I don't know if anyone here has played the Magic the Gathering online client, MitGo, which I think still runs. I don't know if Arena's intended to fully replace it. Arena looks like an upgrade from what they've been trying to do to match Hearthstone for the past 5-6 years to play in their space, because basically, to me, a good way to get your Magic fix was to play on Magic the Gathering online, but it was clunky. It was like 20, felt always 10, 20 years behind the times in terms of what it was. And it was built upon addition and addition that it would be so very hard for Magic to make a new version that was full of wonderful graphics, but was also hardcore rules intensive the way that people like to play that client did. And I think it underwent an update, so I don't think you'll get the true experience, but it's function first. Magic Online is function first. It needs to know all the rules and be able to do them programmatically from the past 20 or 25 years that the game is in existence. And the cards in those games really go nuts with how, if you've ever seen the comprehensive rule list for Magic the Gathering, I think it's 600 pages. If you need to get really technical and look up a rule, the rules for Magic are 600 pages. Magic comprehensive rules. Magic the Gathering. Oh, it's a PDF. Oh, it's going to be a big PDF. But it's rocket science. I mean, I don't know. For me, it is rocket science. It isn't rocket science. It's just, and I guess I kind of have a bit of a background in quasi-judicial dispute resolution with telcos and client. Like I'm kind of not. I was never intimidated by it. And anyways, the client has to, okay, so I'm just loading up the comprehensive rules here. It is, I don't have Word on this PC, so I'll just have to do the PDF version, I guess. It'll tell me. Okay, it's 231 pages. They've trimmed it down. I'm sure it was more than that. Of 10-point font. I'm on page 215. It's defining keywords, ninjutsu, a keyword ability that lets a creature suddenly enter combat. You flip over to page 78. Rule 603.2d. Some trigger events use the word becomes, for example, becomes attached or becomes blocked. These trigger only at the time the name event happens. They don't trigger if that state already exists or re-trigger if it persists. An ability that triggers when a permanent becomes tapped or becomes untapped doesn't trigger if the permanent enters the battlefield in that state. Example, an ability that triggers when a permanent becomes tapped triggers only when the status of a permanent that's already on the battlefield changes from untapped to tapped. Anyways. So, and I might even say it's my mistake. It's my perception. When Hearthstone, the MitGo client has to embody these comprehensive rules and be updatable, because they're just like any other video game. There is a team at Wizards. I don't think it's the judges, but it might be the level 5 judges, people who have to pass certifications and exams in order to be able to run tournaments and administer rules and adjudicate. People review those and change them, and Magic Online needs to be updated to accommodate those changes. And long story short, it means by design, Magic the Gathering Online is function first graphics and all the bells and whistles that make you go, ooh. Like the Hearthstone trailer last year was very like, wah la 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 la. Like there's very much a Disney aesthetic to Hearthstone, which is fine. I like it. But for me it was, oh, they're going to do the stuff Magic's doing because they're doing the TCG genre, and they're going to improve upon it. So my thing was, yeah, maybe their rules will be simplified, but they will embody a lot of the things that Wizards, and I can't remember who previously owned them. It wasn't Wizards the whole time, but you know that the Magic community has enshrined over 20 years, nurturing and doing what it can to serve its community. And I've always felt, I was really into Hearthstone for the first little while, but I became growingly disappointed. And it's a legit criticism that they care about mobile design to the detriment of the quality of the game. It might have been TSR. I think that was D&D. It was for sure D&D at one point. Wait, let me look that up. Who owned Magic before Wizards? I guess Hasbro technically owns Wizards. History. Richard Garfield. Oh, it's Wizards of the Coast the whole time. Okay, I think Wizards of the Coast has always owned Magic. You're right, and TSR they picked up D&D from TSR or something. They picked up other games along the way. I think that's the story. Anyways, I had this this nouveau Blizzard, this new wave of Blizzard that began with Hearthstone. That began with Hearthstone was going Blizzard was going to embody those things, which is to nurture a competitive environment the way that we know it, but maybe unique to Hearthstone. And it started off that way. Arena seemed like a unique take on Draft, which I still am a big fan of. They got that, I think, really right in a way, but they just stopped there. Like the Hearthstone game that's in there now exists as it was at launch, plus some single player content. Like yes, there's new cards and stuff like that, but they stopped there at new cards, and there isn't an online tournament system. Thank you, Lord Shaper, for your 15 months in a row. It is greatly appreciated. They stopped short. And a lot of stuff like that, we couldn't have more than 8 deck slots because of mobile design. In MitGo, I had unlimited slots because I could save everything as a text file and I could import them and whatever. There's no replay system in Hearthstone. I don't think there is one still. You can look at your last game, but you can't save your games. Thank you, Moozy1409, for 12 months in a row. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. There's no replay system. There's no tournament system. When I heard they're doing tournament system finally for Hearthstone, and I'd stopped playing by then, I was like, good. Maybe it just takes Blizzard a long time to do, but then they cancel it. And I was like, oh man. And I really feel like the company a little bit pats itself on the back a little too much for not doing things at this point. I'm sorry to feel that way, but I really do. I really feel like, and so Hearthstone was disappointing in that way, and Diablo was disappointing in that way. Where the next expansion didn't come, it failed to appear. And in the Diablo case, we failed to have the courtesy at some point to be notified, oh yeah, we're done. Because they wanted to wait till they could tell us about Diablo 4. Because the company doesn't want to lose customers. But you have to communicate with them what you're doing. Like, I think this idea of super duper secrecy forever doesn't sit with the community, and at least it doesn't sit with me very well. I want a roadmap. I want to know what we're doing. I want to hear when there are failures. I know that runs counter to probably every game company's ethos, but Blizzard games, to me, fit a Wizards of the Coast aesthetic, and that company does communicate what's going on with its products. D&D Next was a giant experiment in open beta, and it's a huge success. Mark Rosewater, I don't know if he still leads for Magic, but he had a weekly article posting some pretty cool thoughts and and musings and sometimes education and sometimes internal design processes from the company, and including talking about mistakes and things they felt they did poorly and that they're going to do better. And you don't hear that meeting where they're sitting around saying, okay, let's debrief on the Diablo 3 thing, what went good, what went wrong. That is not in Blizzard's players, or it's not in players' hands for us to see. And I think there was a conceit we allow as Blizzard players, fans of their game, to say like, okay, we trust you because you've delivered on products like so above expectations and with such quality, even with detractors, that we're going to chill out and let you do that outside of our sphere of vision. But now we're getting to the point that I think people are too much dissatisfied. Like that kind of practice is okay if you're getting it right all the time, but I don't think that's the case anymore for the company, and I think they have to. I would like, no, they can do whatever they want, but I would like to see them give the debrief on Diablo 3. Have Jeff, instead of coming out for a meme, write about design or do a video talking about design and what he thinks he did wrong and will do better in the future. Because that's how you foster a community. Right now, Blizzard sort of expects its community to foster itself and be cool when things are shitty. And, you know, so they're communicative and they just say, we're not doing things, and we're Blizzard, and not doing things always leads to better things. I think they're patting themselves a little bit too much on the back for this kind of bullshit behavior. And it is bullshit. And then secondly, I think they're at a point now where players clearly want to have a voice and feel an impact in the direction the products are taking. And we don't have that. I mean, it's not to say that our voices don't matter, but in terms of this HGC thing, not being consulted, being blindsided by it, essentially. Like, they met in the boardroom, they decided what was best, and then we just have to live with it now, is incorrect. Like, the result we still might have gotten to a point where there's no HGC next year, or HGC they weren't going to pay players. They could win the prize money. That bug is back. They can win prize money or something, like, or we want to have a tournament structure, but it's for fun. Like, but no, they have new secret projects that I give two squirts of piss about. Like, I don't identify personally, and I never have, as a Blizzard player. Like, I will like Blizzard games for the sake of liking a Blizzard game. Like, just like every other company, each game and product has to appeal to me. I have to want to play it. And, you know, I've played World of Warcraft. I've played lots of Hearthstone, and I really fell in love with playing Heroes. I really I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and I started playing League in anticipation for finally being able to play Heroes, because I wanted to start practicing because it just looks so cool, and I wanted to be there for a big thing when the doors opened. A lot of times with games, you get in 10 years late and you're like, wow, what are all these old cards in Magic? I have so much to learn. It can be intimidating. And I was like, this is an opportunity for a company with big ideas and big name products for me to start playing at a time since its inception. And that's no small thing. So it's not that, I mean, it's sad that there's not going to be competitive for the game, but there's a habit of behavior that's happening now, which is we cancel things we know the community wants because we decided it's best for you, and people aren't digging that, and they do it behind closed doors. They don't discuss their failures in any quick means easily, and they should be. And lastly, it's in the case of Diablo, they didn't say anything. They still haven't said anything, except good things are coming. Like, when a child will gladly tell you the good thing that he did. They went poo today, but they won't tell you that they did a bad thing, right? And we do this in our adult lives too. Emphasize the good and just skirt over or not discuss the critical, or even though it's hard, do those Disney things. Really, you know, if we're gonna continue on that theme. And I think for me to feel safe in a Blizzard environment right now, playing games, I need to see that shift. And I don't mean like in interactions with me. They've all been very good to me. They've all been very great. And I think that's the problem, is that it's good to be good, but gamers, we just want the games that we have to be worked on and developed and not abandoned. So I don't know. There's a million new projects in the works, I guess. I don't know if I'll like them or not. I can't make my decisions based on when and if. When they have a game, then I'll just immediately know I'll like to play it, because I think Overwatch is a fantastic game, but I don't like to play it that much. And that doesn't reflect poorly on the game. It's just a matter of personal preference. So I'm not going to roll dice every couple of years and see if I'm really into a Blizzard game or not. Like, the game that I'm into was released. And the fact that it's a failure or a dead game is not the fault of League of Legends or Dota 2 or any other game. It's not anyone else's fault but the people who are behind it. Because if the game isn't working at a scale that you want, there is a way to get it there. There is a path forward if there's a will for it. And Heroes there have been many, many changes to Heroes, but that quantitative change to say, how can we make this a more compelling MOBA than the other ones in the space, I think has yet to be fully challenged to its greatest degree. I think the awesome thing they did was they tried to create an environment in HGC and fund it. It was amazing. And I think it was a little... It was never, in my mind, the correct, way to proceed to just pay people directly in the league. That was seed money to help kickstart the HGC. The fact that that didn't work and they want to pull out of it seems fine to me. Like that, I don't know of many other esports that really pay professional players directly out of their pocket any games running it. I think that was pretty unique in the space. I think Overwatch does it too. Again, I think that's pretty unique in the space. But there must be some deal with the owners or something like that. They can't pay that all out of their own pocket. That must be the owners that pay that. I'm not sure. I don't follow Overwatch that closely, but it just didn't seem sustainable in my mind from the start. It seemed like a good thing. I was happy for them, but this, apart from the way, the issue is more the way it was handled and the way things are being handled when they're hard conversations like that and when they're tough. The press release was polite and nice and everything like that, but I do feel bad for anyone that got blindsided by it. But generally speaking, I probably think pulling the HGC, knowing that they're carrying it alone on their finances, whether or not there's an Activision crackdown happening, seems correct to me from a certain perspective, which is kind of contradicts what I've been saying. But I think the thing I'm more pissed about is that there's gonna be less developers on the game, to be honest with you. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Is that like the HGC and Heroes being two separate topics. We can make a statement saying like the HGC doesn't have a financially viable scene at the moment, and that's going to take people from the ground up building it up. But I also think that's going to take improving Heroes of the Storm, not with new maps and cool new tricks, but looking at the very gameplay itself and asking why do people perceive this game to be not something of a sufficient enough challenge to warrant professionals' time mastering it, and to warrant us watching the masters truly shine. Because I think the argument is, I can watch a Heroes player, and yeah, I can do that. Or I can watch a League player and a League team, and just, they're like up here, League or Dota in terms of that stuff. And then breaking that stigma that we've had from the onset. Because I think stuff like that is recoverable. If you just don't go home, then you are home. So, and apart from that, I am, I guess, otherwise not an expert in how to pull players off. But that would be my plan of approach. So I'm just very disappointed that the response wasn't, hey, we're taking HGC offline, because while we are doing that, this game is not going into maintenance mode. This game is cocooning to turn into something better. And, we don't know what that will be, but we have some ideas and thoughts, and we'll be working on them. Which, in theory, could also be something they're doing. Although I don't, with them pulling the devs off, I feel like I doubt that. And my eyes have dark circles. I think I should just go to sleep. Is it just the lighting, or is it me? I think it might be a time for a good sleep. See the dark circle? Ooh. It looks worse on camera. I looked in the mirror and I didn't notice, but like, my eyes are dark as shit. I need to put makeup on. Do you guys see that? I think maybe it's just the lighting. I think there's shadow. I hope so. I'm like scared for my health right now. All right, so I've been like blah blah blahing for like 50 minutes straight now. But let's take some questions from you guys. Sorry, I'm scrolling up a bit, so if you're saying something now, I might not see it for a bit. All right, Pike says keeping things secret forever is not best practice anymore. That said, paying for beta access is not either, in my opinion. But being open and reaching out for feedback is state of the art in software and game development. I agree. I agree that like launch isn't everything, and I felt like that should have been the case with Heroes. I mean, we have seen improvements in Hearthstone. I mean, we've seen lots of improvements in Heroes too. It's just there's some tough questions I think to be asked. That, like, when we talked about the XP changes last week, and I had some people diss me on Twitter as a Blizzard apologist because I was for the XP changes. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it on Core, but I feel like all throughout the matches, like if I'm winning, I don't lay back and chill. I've got to like make sure I hold on to my win and earn it. And if I'm losing, I feel like at least I have a shot because we're not 4 levels down. It's less likely to be the case. And that's good for me. Those changes do not serve professional players, but they serve a lot of people. And the reason why I was kind of down on professional players in their comments is because, because the conceit is, well, professional players are the best at this game. Who else are you going to listen to? And the thing is, you should listen to them. But their bias is different than us. We want to have a good time, most of us, when we're playing the game. Maybe we want to live out a small micro fantasy that we're pretty good at this game and that we're like a step away from being professional. But really, maybe we're more. But it's still fun. And when it comes to professionals, and I get this because I was a tryhard in Magic, and I'm by nature Magic players will know I'm more by nature a Johnny Combo player than I am a Spike. I'll explain what that means maybe later. I don't want to derail my thought right now, but that there's a certain method to thinking when you're trying to win, which is emotional detachment from all of those things. What you're trying to do is minimize variance in your performance results. You do that through practice, drills, and you do that by solving the games and having a strategy that accomplishes this. And if there are any advantages, either through your team's natural abilities, synergies, or secret knowledge that you have obtained, whether that's studying your opponents or just secret knowledge you just happen to have about the rules of the understanding of the game you're in, you're trying to minimize variance and increase your expected value second to second, but also game to game, that you are favored to win. So this is not how game designers design games, right? Because that description sounds like people that are trying to break the game. It's the people who study blackjack in order to beat the house and they get banned from the casino. They're trying to break the game in a good way. Break it in a good way, in the same way that hackers are good because they test the strength of systems out for exploits and stuff like that. That is a function that they serve. So when those XP changes come in and they're like, these make the game unfun, it's because their strategy for winning, like they have less points of articulation, I suppose, in how they can approach the strategy for the game, which is why they'll say something like, well, it's just decided at 20 because there's nothing to exploit. There's no interesting strategy. There's no way we can get plus EV. And then just saying the game's boring probably means there isn't enough for them to do, like just in the match, that they have to concentrate on for their skill and ability and all that kind of stuff. So that's not a problem reverting or this change is going to solve. It's a different conversation. Let this change through. It probably is bad for you as professional players, bad for viewers. And let's continue evolving the game to address that problem, which is not a new problem. Heroes has been called a baby game, and it's been called that because the perception is from people from other MOBAs who've tried it and this one that the game is a simplified version of those other genres, in which, you know, the comparison might be to playing a 1-string guitar versus a 12-string, you know, guitar or some complicated instrument. That's to me how I break everything down. So I don't know how I got in this tangent, except to say that a lot of what we're feeling too is coming off the heels of that quote controversy. And it was to answer your question, and that the feedback was really important here. But I don't know that the situation was articulated quite the way I saw it. I saw a lot of suggestions on how to make the specific change an issue, or less of an issue, and all that kind of stuff. But to me, they were always two separate things. Their original proposition for XP changes was a good one, and that game designers think about from a perspective of game design, balance, and pro gamers, very valuable feedback. They're there to break your game, so they have to temper that feedback and think about it critically. All right, Heavy Pet says 2019 was supposed to be the final year of HGC. Everyone at Blizzard knew this, but they were all blindsided by the fact that it was canceled now. Well, a few people, I saw Kala say that someone told him on his video that you know, there was a wink wink like 2019, you know, when it comes, but yeah, I think that just it infers that not everyone was in the know about yesterday's decision. So yeah, community feelings, Blizz, prior Blizz we trust 2018, and Blizz we trusted. I mean, yeah, trust is earned, right? And we talked a bit about this yesterday, but everything that has an initial vision eventually risks becoming a shell of itself, because organizations and movements decay just like people do. And the founding direction or principles of those who formed a movement, when they go, they often take it with them. Or in the case of a large corporation, it just evolves into something else. And because I have no insight as to the inner, and none of us at large really do, we're just left with all the crazy conjecture that's available on a forum. It's hard to know what to trust. The fact is, we don't like when any company says, no, everything's all right, and then tells you, thanks for your money, game's canceled. It's expected behavior in a lot of cases where, you know, you'll get the default company like outside of gaming. It's just we've come to respect companies. And again, that's why I sort of, not that I don't think Wizards of the Coast is an angel of a company, but they really broke new ground in a big way with 5e. And 5e continues to be considered successful and strong. And I think D&D has never been healthier. I was in the beta for it. It's just so good. It's really good. And so what if the public can get builds of the game they'll eventually get? I mean, Warframe's been running for a good clip now. And it really feels like they have a pretty good dialogue with their fan base right now on that game. I've watched some of their community videos. I'm kind of hoping to go to TennoCon, because it's just over here near Toronto next year. I just realized, like, you know, I don't even play that much, but like, I'm super into the fact that they're Canadian and the fact that they just keep vibing on a cool game and it's fun to play. To me, Warframe is, everyone says Path of Exile, and sure, maybe they're good, but to me, Warframe has the model down. Has the Diablo model down for the most part. I know there's there's differences that are difficult, but anyway. Overwatch received a ton of money from Twitch itself for the broadcast rights. Could be. I mean, Overwatch. Yeah, I mean, Overwatch is what it is. People, it was. I think they did a lot of innovative, cool new things with that game, and that's where I draw the line of difference between Heroes and Overwatch. Overwatch should play the game, and it's got melee weapons that feel, and everything just feels. There's ridiculous things that shouldn't feel good in a first-person shooter. Like I prefer my Doom and my Wolfenstein shooters, and you know, I don't really dig the Call of Duty stuff, but I like, you know, a good gun-based game. And to me, there's no room prior to Overwatch for cutesy, weird MOBA shit in my first-person shooters. And Overwatch changed that. I don't know how much they knew that it was going to be that way, or if it was just luck. But they did something really innovative. And that's where I draw the line with Heroes, where the innovations were literally, I mean, we should go back and watch some of the launch videos where, like, no last hitting, shared experience, you know, we can't chat with the other team, so no toxicity. It was always defined in distinction from other MOBAs by what it took away. And I mean, it did improve things. I think the graphics are way better. I think the game feels way better to click around in and just be in. Mounts are cool. They added mounts, but mounts they are technically gameplay because you get around the map, but like, that's not a, you know, just no one's like, I'm a pro mount user, I'm really good at mounting. Like, it's not really a thing. So what they did in Heroes was look at a lot of way to make the genre game match times quicker, more pleasurable, and they underestimated how much they needed to make the game a crazy click fest and how obtuse they had to make knowledge. Again, Magic the Gathering, I still think it's the premier card game over Hearthstone as a 300-page rulebook. You can't look at gamers and say, that's too complicated. You don't want that. You want simple. There are audiences who want simple, but we can serve both. Magic is very simple. For, mom and pop to pick up a deck of cards, you explain how mana works, and off you go. But it's also ridiculously complex. And that's what they're leaving out of their games. And I'd even include Overwatch in it from a map perspective. Push the payload, like that's all you got. That's all you can do on one lane. That's all players can handle. I disagree, and I think a lot of people who consider themselves hardcore gamers who want to see competition at the razor's edge of skill and ability need more than what I think Blizzard offers in its esports games. Excepting StarCraft, which is hard as shit and is amazing. It's probably my favorite Blizzard game to watch on an esport level, even now. If I had to pick, I'm gonna die in 2 hours and the only thing you get to do is watch esports and it has to be a Blizzard game, I'm not watching Heroes, I'm watching StarCraft. That's easy. That's an easy choice. For me. I'm sure it'll be different for you, and I respect that. I'm just saying, for me, StarCraft gets my respect. I like how I'm talking. It's like a one-sentence question. You're getting a lecture from me. I'm so sorry, everybody. Thank you for hanging around. Maybe with the slowdown in content that they mentioned last year at BlizzCon, they don't need as many developers on it for the longer games between releases. Content that they mentioned. Well, they mentioned this. I don't. Sometimes I like to think they just do things because they heard it on Core, and it's a hugely arrogant and egotistical. But at the same time, no one's told me that doesn't happen. So I'm like, I complained quite a bit about it feeling like I'm having ADHD because every week there's a million things changing. I see criticisms like this game didn't get patched enough. Ninja, please. This game, as someone who covered it every week, and who still does, I guess, technically, this game was giving me fits. Every 5 seconds, everything changing all the time. I still think it's a little much, but it's gotten way better. And that slowdown, I mean, maybe they had less developers, I don't know. But I liked 2018 for releases, for balance updates, for except maps, which there's never enough maps, in my opinion. There's probably a point where there's too much, but I'd like 4 maps a year. That was a cadence, or at least 2. But 4 to me sounds right. A map's unbalanced, put it in the bin. Bring out the new map, Ted. We got a new one to replace it. Don't worry, we're gonna stop balancing that one, and that one can go in the wild card category. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just not as. I'm sure it's not easy, but I think there's probably a case that you could have 4 teams and each team makes a map per year. If you have the money, you can make that. I think that's not. So it probably dovetailed with the reduced team size, that the cadence, but to me, that was a victory. Except on the map front. The map front has always been too low. Phasing in the statement. Slurt implies it was more than just a few devs that were taken away. Why did I point out my... I don't know. I guess I shouldn't have. I assume you see in detail more than what I do, but look at my tired eyes. I'm so tired. I didn't sleep well last night, you guys. I was more impacted than I thought I would be because I wasn't surprised by it. I was on a call with TBK Monday saying, we were just talking about stuff, and I'm like, I think this is bad news. I think if Blizzard is seeing their professional players making us think online and not saying anything for weeks, it's bad news. And I don't want to be a naysayer, so I didn't go on I didn't go on my Twitter and be like, HGC's definitely freaking canceled. But I was thinking it. Moozy1409 says, not sure if asked already, but what's the future for Core? The future right now is we're going to still do the show, as far as I know. The question for me is, right now, is how I'm feeling about the game. Like, and I'm just, like, I thought maybe I'd come home tonight and I'd stream it. And maybe if I did stream it, at least I just play it. And I don't know. Again, it might just because I'm tired. Sometimes sometimes I'm just tired, and that's why I don't, do things, which is, I think, a normal thing. But I don't know. I'm just. I think earlier in the broadcast I mentioned, and I definitely mentioned it on Core yesterday, that I've been a part of enough games that have been put out to pasture where I've been the guy saying, like, well, I don't care. I love this game. I'm going to stay playing it. And the player base dwindles and dwindles and new cool stuff comes along. And I'm sitting over here and I'm like, well, I'm playing my game. I've been a part of too many of those knowingly, like in the case of PlanetSide, or unwittingly, like in the case of Diablo 3, where I'm not sure that I want to continue investing as much time in a game that is, for the reasons I outlined earlier, I don't feel like I'm getting good communication on, that the community is getting good communication on enough, and that I'll find out bad news way too late and in the future. So, that the game will always be there and be fun. That's great. And for now, because they work a year in advance, like, I know there's a year of content there, so we'll get together and do that. But I'm not gonna lie and say, like, for sure I'm not going anywhere, I'm gonna keep playing this game. The answer might be yes, it might be no. I have to get through. I'm in my feelings right now, and some of the things I say and think aren't reflective, are at the risk of not being true, because I'm speaking from a place of emotion and not from a place of truth, if that makes sense to people. Yeah, so I mean, because StarCraft 1, I mean, it's remastered, but you can still play Diablo 2 and StarCraft 1. These games will be there whether or not people are playing them. The servers will be up. It's just a question of, life's a short thing. There's lots of exciting things to do. And what I love most, more than Heroes of the Storm, is I love hanging out with John and Scott. And if there's a new thing, a new exciting thing that we all want to get up to, then maybe we'll do that. I don't know. It's kind of open right now. But steady as she goes for now. And we have There'll Be Dungeons, so, really enjoying playing D&D with friends I made through Heroes. Yeah. And certainly no regrets about Heroes. It just, maybe I'm a zombie or Zambi. I am a Zambi. Liz has issues communicating with their fan base. I think I've said what I had to say on that. There were responses on Reddit from the Blizz team that they are still having passionate devs working on it, so I want to give them time to settle. They do, and like I said on the show this week, Kyle Dates is amazing. I got to speak, we hung out a little bit, I think, at the Heroes Summit that we went to, and I wonder if that was an opportunity to be more critical of what we saw. I think when I went to the Heroes Media Summit for the announcement of 2.0, I was just so starstruck, I think, for lack of a better word. I'm like, they flew me out. I'm in California. I've never been to California. Like, these guys are amazing. They can do no wrong. And certainly I still feel that way, to be honest with you. I definitely have a I'm not worthy sort of vibe whenever I'm talking to them. And maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe they do need to hear, like, yeah, you worked hard on it, but it's not going to be good. Fix it. Maybe that, I wonder if that's a bit of a failure on my part for being a little too starstruck and affable than I should be, I don't know. I just feel like I'm like, they get a lot of unwarranted flack like 24/7 that I feel like I want to compensate for it by being as nice as I can and positive and stuff like that. But maybe that's not the role. As I guess what I call as a critic. Like, I'm not a professional player. I'm not really a streamer, just a personality. To call those things out sooner and with greater veracity and politeness. Yeah. But they definitely have talented, amazing people. Like I said on the show this week, Jillian, who puts together all those cool ass shit that we get, the loot box and the sweaters and the luchador masks and stuff. It's always her name. Is like, oh, she worked on this. Like, someone's. It's not like janky ass free crap you get from a cereal company or something. Like, it's cool stuff, and they're really lucky to have a lot of the Heroes is really lucky to have a lot of the talented, great people that they do have. And like, talking to KO is always like, it's great. Like, I get that I've only spoken to him in like a press capacity, I suppose, but I think his passion was very genuine, and his the team's love for what they're doing and wish that we would all share that with them is very real, and not a like, just give us money and fuck off. Basically, it's not that at all, and it's not insular, and it's not we don't give a shit about you. They very much embody that value of the mission statement. So Lord Shaper, you've been involved in the game since Tech Alpha. I want to believe this isn't the end of it. My time, money's been put into blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm skipping down a bit. From watching Pallytime's vid on it, the people who work on HGC have told them they found out. Yeah. It was. You can read KO's statement as well. I think it heavily infers exactly that it was, not only was it a surprise for professional players, casters, but somewhat of a shock decision for the very people who make the game, who are probably very publicly going to say very nice things, as they should, and be, keep their jobs and not, lob bombshells. But I can't imagine they feel much differently than how I expressed myself on Core when I was telling whoever made that decision to go fuck themselves, basically. Support Heroes, and whatever awesome incubator thing you're doing, just nuke it. You've got a good game here. You got a good person here. Why do you have to go find another person? But that's just what they got to do, I guess. So, you mentioned you've been on Reddit the past 48. I have my own feelings regarding the events and the reactions. I'm wondering how you feel about the current trend of feedback. Being generous here, calling it that. I've been, well, if you've been listening to Core, you know that the Garden of Terror reaction was atrocious and unwarranted. And that, I don't know where it came from. If the vocal majority who post on forums was not representative of the anonymous majority, it seemed to express itself there. Like, the comments on YouTube are like, I loved Garden of Terror. It was an amazing map. How dare you change it? And these changes suck. And I was like, do you even play Heroes? Are you just here to say you liked the map that you played 3 years ago? Or are you actually just not plugged in at all, but happened to actually see this YouTube video and then are like, what's going on with my game? And not aware that the game is frequently being changed, and that, I don't know, it's on the splash page. They took that feedback and they put the changes and news and patch notes in the launcher. I just don't know how anyone playing this game doesn't know that even if they like Garden of Terror, universal Garden of Terror hate is a thing. And the massive amount of the review bombing, basically, of it, I found shameful. Because then, it starts in on everything. It's not just that critical feedback that this iteration's bad, but also it's Zach's Division's fault, and this is a dead game, and all the other memes that come out of it. So I don't think Reddit feedback is super useful. The second instance of Reddit feedback came along with the XP changes, where I felt that the professional players who said they were bad, understanding they have their reasons for saying it's bad, probably took to bitching about it a little more, because concurrently they're also not finding out about 2019. Right? It's like a week. It was the week before this news drops, like a week and a half, and they're already posts and complaints going like, "Are we playing in 2019? By the way, these XP changes, they suck." You know, it's. I don't know if they correlate really or not. If one is a cause of the other, I'm only speculating. But I think that's true of probably any game. I don't think that's unique to Heroes. Might just be true of Blizzard games, but I think there are a few players who are given a lot of their words are given a lot of credence, as well they should. People should look up to admire the Wayne Gretzky's and Michael Jordans, and that's why it seems like a big deal to them when their heroes decide to take very extreme attacking views on things. It's just an echo chamber, and they mobilize their little army. So I don't think, because I tried the changes at BlizzCon firsthand, and so Rich had it. You know, I'm assuming the pro players didn't play it at BlizzCon, because especially the ones in the finals, they were busy playing on the old patch, and within 30 minutes saying it sucks of it going live. That's an initial reaction, and I think if you're gonna go say something is a failure, which seems to be like a final judgment on the case, I don't know. Just shouldn't have been done that way. Anyways, whatever. It's out in the wild now, and people are. Who knows? The XP changes are like probably the furthest thing from anyone's mind right now, because everyone's quitting, I guess. So, yeah. But Reddit feedback, it's the mob. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, and it's always shitty. I hate sort of siding with the mob. I don't care for mobs, but there'll come a time when I'll need one because I'm in the right or something. I don't know. I'm rambling. We have things happen. Well, looks tired. I am tired. I didn't sleep well last night, BDEX. Was kind of up last night. Oh, we've had banned people. What is going on? Okay, that was interesting. I'm a pro mounter. Okay, I guess that was whoever was spamming. I missed all that. It's all deleted now, so thank you for that, Monica. Oh, I love Urel's auto mount. It's pretty cool. Hey, Mike 65655. I'm actually scrolled up into chat right now. I'm responding to questions. Didn't HOTS already add really cool talent builds unique to each hero? The problem with talents is you just kind of pick them and then they just kind of work. There isn't really a skill expression. Like, we can sit and argue about whether Convection's a good talent or not, and so you're a pro player if you think not taking Convection is the right move. Like, that's not compelling television, you know. That's not compelling to watch. Like, certainly it's a point of discussion finding out, like, when you watch League, like, did they take their boots first, or did they take their attack damage upgrade item first, or are they building half and half? Like, there's definitely interesting conversations to be had about the strategy around that. But when you're playing the game and clicking, you're not really doing much. I just feel like for those games, last hitting, the mini game around last hitting is a big deal, and bullying someone off their last hits is a big deal. That's meaningful. That punishes. And even the way towers work, the towers are way more punishing. It's way like a dive in League. A tower dive is way more impressive than the face roll that is tower diving in Heroes. It's not even a contest. Towers and forts are a joke compared to getting your ass shot at from one of those towers in League. I don't know if they've changed it, but when I was playing, as soon as you hit anything, I think as soon as you hit anything other than the tower or the minions, it would redirect. Like if you hit the enemy hero who was killing you to defend, the thing would retarget you and it would do a buttload of damage. You could take maybe like 3-4 shots. So it's exciting television when in League someone dives someone because they have a really small window to kill you and to get out of tower range. It's actually a pretty exciting moment in a League game. It's not exciting at all in Heroes. And that's an aspect of the game that they could examine. Like, how do we make these exciting moments for players to just shine? And so upping the lethality is a way to do it. I think in terms of Heroes design, keeping games at 20 minutes is a pillar of the design of the game. So they have to make those forts brittle. They have to, because then otherwise they're defensible. And defensible forts means turtling, means 40-minute games, 50-minute games, 60-minute games. So it's just, you can't have your cake and eat it all the ways you want. And those are the kinds of tough things that I say might need to be changed and improved upon when it comes to Heroes. You're a mount whore. Jeez. I can watch Heroes and SC as an esport, but Hearthstone doesn't do anything for me and I can't follow any Warcraft. BDEX, yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't played Heroes in a year, but I love people on core enough to listen. We hear that a lot on core. In fact, and let me say this, I don't know that I'll say it on the show, but there's been a drop off in the amount of, feedback and comments we get. I mean, we know people are listening to our show. We see the statistics, but the engagement, the comments on content, unless I get really out of line and some people don't like it, I don't hear too much usually week over week about the game. And a comment I heard a lot at BlizzCon and a lot online and even here, BDEX. And it's okay. It's an okay comment to make. We're happy you love listening to the show. There's a lot of people listen to core but don't play. And I totally get it. I've gone through long periods of listening to the instance without having played WoW, because I do like World of Warcraft and I do like the personalities and it's fun to listen to. But on some level, I'm like, a lot of people listen to the show, don't play the game. So I'm trying to figure out what that means. And because I do view like people who are creating content, unless you're creating a certain other kind of content, like we are stewards of the game. Like I would like it so that, people who listen to the show got excited to play the game and helps promote the growth of the game. And I'm not saying anyone here should stop listening to core or any show just because they don't play the game. But, we're here to promote, I think, our love of the game and share it with others. And I just wonder, is it everyone? And I know some people who listen play because they're in chat and then I play with them in the game. But, like, how many? What's that ratio? And I just wonder about that, But that's ultimately not my job to entice people to play. That's up to the company to do that, or not. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn, but But thank you for the compliment, because if you're listening, that must mean, you know, we're entertaining to listen to, and so we're doing something right. So thank you, BDEX. Yeah, so you listen to There'll Be Dungeons, but you're 20 episodes behind. That's the thing about D&D Let's Plays. Like, even me, I wanted to do a crash course when we decided we were actually going to go forward. Like, I had listened to Critical Role before and a few other D&D shows, and I'm like, oh crap, we're really doing this. I need a crash course. And I'm like, it's just, you can't keep up. I thought maybe I'd keep up on campaign 2, and I fell off after the second one, just because it's a long stretch to listen to the shows. So I do catch up on Critical Role every now and then. I don't know where I'm at. Actually, I'm at the point with Critical Roles, I just turn on an episode randomly and listen to that episode, and just take it in like a Quentin Tarantino movie where I just watch bits out of order. Because, you know, it's just, I have another little issue with Critical Role in particular, in that I think there were a few of the first early episodes where we were apparently doing things similarly, or had little events that were similar to the events on Critical Role, that I definitely didn't copy intentionally. And I don't even think I copied from osmosis, like just that it was in my mind because I had imprinted it from listening to it. But it came up enough times that I'm like, and we're like close on episodes. I think we're like a couple of shows behind on their second campaign, that I was like, I really want to watch this and I really like it, but I don't want the influence to just like seep into our show. Like, I want to maintain a bit of purity of thought. So that's also why I listen to them randomly and out of order, because, and just whenever, because I want to keep myself pure as a DM, I suppose. And I already take a lot of influence from pop culture, to the chagrin of some listeners already, you know? So I didn't, because it's like the premiere in the genre of what we're doing, I suppose, I didn't want to unintentionally crib anything, just because I'm a fan of what they do too. So Monica's gonna give me a facial. Awesome. Maybe I'll put the stream in my 60-inch TV. I'm glad you ended it with TV. Sector 7 says, I'm surprised how much this affected me. I don't play HOTS, but know people that do. Listen, watch Core every week, and I loved watching the HGC. It's weird to think that this is the change that will make me question buying a Blizzard title. Bad couple of months for Blizzard for me as a fan. I don't think it, if that's true, Sector 7, I can't tell you what you think, but as I said already in this broadcast, it would be a number of things adding up probably over time. A number of decisions. For me, in my case, it was not being told Diablo 3 is done, so I can think about the game with the fullness of information, and that not being told that in explicit terms Hearthstone will fulfill specific design roles and not be a replacement or attempt to compete with Magic the Gathering, because it doesn't. It really doesn't. Unfortunately, it looked like it did, and in some ways it beats the piss out of Magic, but it's not looking to dethrone it. And I think a lot of people gave it money, I know I did, with the assumption that that was the case, and maybe it was our bad, it was my bad to make that assumption, but it really looked like it. It really looked like that's what they were doing. It still does look like it, as far as I'm concerned, but it's not what they're doing. Bad couple of months for Blizzard fans as a whole. Yeah, I can tell you all through my contact at Blizzard, HOTS is beloved at the company. Not just people on team, but many employees in other departments. They have a special place in the heart, since heroes will still be getting love. Oh, well, excellent. That I don't doubt. That I do not doubt, even from my interactions with people. Like I said at some point tonight, I don't doubt that there's a will to do it, and I don't doubt that Blizzard doesn't have a reputation for keeping the games going for long periods of time. But I don't know. I don't know how I'll feel about it. Like if a game comes along that I'd like to, in Caldor's words, go balls deep on, and I say, like, there are games that come up and I'm like, I can't play that because my games right now. Like, a part of the reason that I also moved away from Overwatch was I do a show about Heroes of the Storm, so I owe it to people when I'm talking about the game to play a certain amount. Not because I don't want to, but because it's that whole thing about practice. If a piano player doesn't practice for a day, the piano player notices. If he doesn't practice for 2 days, his mentor notices. And if he doesn't practice for 3 days, the audience notices. And so that's my approach to Heroes, is that it's not that I have to be a pro player, but if I go 3 weeks without playing the game and I'm still doing a show and telling you guys my authoritative opinion and not even playing the fucking thing, then that's selfish on my part. So that's a decision I have to decide. Is, do I still want to practice this when another instrument is coming along that I find more compelling? Do I say, well, yeah, but this is my instrument? Because in gaming, games come and go. Blizzard titles among them. And that's where as much as I know they love the game, I would still appreciate concrete details about what exactly is to be expected for the next 5 years, so that we can make our decisions about what we want to do with our time as gamers and as people who enjoy creating content based celebrating games. I know that's not realistic because that's not how really the games industry works, but it's still, that would be respectful at this juncture. I don't want to get Diablo 3'd. Honestly, I don't want to get Diablo 3'd again. That's what it boils down to. And so it's fine for everyone to say, oh, it's great, everyone loves the game. And it's like, I just don't want to get Diablo 3'd again. And it made me not fair to hold the Heroes team to the standard of what Diablo did, but it's got the Blizzard tag on it. And that's the bed you made, and that's the bed you got to sleep in, unfortunately. At least as far as I'm concerned. I don't mean to be an asshole about it, but yeah. Never had issues with Old Garden. Me neither. Well, no, that's not true. I fucking hate it. I'm tired. But sure. The memes are the worst. I'm really tired of people spreading crap around. I had the same feeling, not just for Heroes, but I feel these memes are poisoning the well. If it comes back to proper feedback, and give that feedback a channel. Man, I think I'm way behind chat. I'm so sorry. You guys, I answered like one question and then like I let so much time flip over. So I'm gonna speed through some of this. Bros checked out the new balance and you start pooping on it. They aren't helping to sell the game this way. The pros pooping on it. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good look, you know. It's not a great look. They're the ambassadors for the game. And in a way, like, I still remember when Patrick called us out on the panel, not last year, being super negative, and I wasn't offended by it. I kind of took it to heart. I was like, yeah, I don't love it either. And sometimes I'm like, that's just the character of it. But, you know, maybe there's something to that. And I think over the last year of doing core, I've tried to be mindful of not being a bitch and trying to be positive, but still have to be me. I can't be Faco. So I don't know. But and I think that the same is what professionals would say. They're not, you know, paid to play the game well, and their attitude is to do it. And in professional sports, they're, you know, people that are jerky too. But on some level, they are ambassadors for the game. And I think the pendulum swung a little too far on the polemic side with respect to the recent proposed changes. And out of nowhere, we've known about this crap since November. I don't know. Hi, Sack Maniac. Say hi to Alexander, man. Tell him not to swear. You're gonna put money in the swear jar. Well, thanks, Dersham, for listening. Oh, there we go. I've been played Heroes a while. Listen, thank you, Clown Baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good to see you again. And yeah, good. So the one thing I can say is, you know, we're definitely gonna continue finding some way to make you guys laugh and hang out and have a good time. And for now, that will be Heroes, and there's no reason to change it. You know, no reason at all. I'm just in my feelings right now, and if I actually have a lot of viewers that I'm not even streaming a game right now, and there's like, this might be a record amount of people that I've had come into to watch the thing. So cool and welcome. Thank you for being here. But I'm just really in my feelings right now, and I know I'm gonna say things that I might not feel are true in a week. I could just be back to playing Heroes all the time because I enjoy it, or I don't know. See, unlike a lot of the professionals who have like bailed on Heroes they're just like, oh, I'm gonna go play League, I'm gonna be pro in League. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. That's a big pool. You're a smaller fish in a bigger pool. And maybe you will get somewhere, wish you the best of luck, but you know, on some level, my credibility, you know, in this community, for me personally, means a lot more to me than, you know, me moving to some other game. Like, I had the thought for a second, like, do I log into League tonight to see how the game feels? And I'm like, I don't want to. I really don't want to. So that's not happening. There isn't a game other than Heroes with a committed online following, like a Twitch following or an esports scene, that I'm really heavily into. The closest might be Warframe. I'm honestly kind of, I don't play it like regularly, but when I play it for like a good like 2 or 3 day stint, and then I have to be like, whoa. But I keep kind of coming back to that game. It scratches my Diablo and shooter itch at the same time. So people are already saying HOTS got Diablo'd. Well, yeah. I think I mean, the Immortal thing's something separate. I don't really want to talk or think about that anymore. I'm fine with the Diablo Immortal announcement, to be honest with you. I think the shitty thing, if true, and I believe it is, until I hear something convincing something official otherwise, because it's the only source of information I've had, is that Diablo was canceled post-launch of Reaper of Souls. Meanwhile, the rest of us are loving this game, and I'm like, when's the next X-Pack coming? For like 5 years? How long? When did it release? I'm still waiting for the X-Pack, in theory. I'm like, why isn't it arrived yet? I mean, there's been no official word from the company, so had I not read that article, I'm still sitting here being like, maybe there is an X-Pack? Finally, please give me a reason to continue playing that game because I like it. And Scott's been playing it. It's still good. It's still fun. Even despite of all the criticisms of it and people want to play other games, Reaper of Souls was a success. Is a success. On a side note, not sure how many people know this, but Dota 2 tournaments outside of the international aren't put on by Valve. They have some oversight, but those are run by localized coordinators, and many of those events are part of either PGL or ESL. Cool, I didn't know that. Yeah, maybe, I saw Workhorse, who I'm not sure his title, but he seems to be, you know, the boss of Heroes Hearth. Say statements to the effect that, you know, they'll likely be finding a solution for that space. They've done a lot right so far. So, you know, including have an awesome esports team, a sweet website. They've got their, you know, they've taken on a lot of the community streamers, and they've got Lords of the Storm podcast creators. Even, you know, they're making themselves a little G unit of hero stuff over there, and they're doing a lot right. So that could be there. I mean, ESL, who knows? One of those larger organizations might pick up a heroes league of some kind. So not all may be lost. I don't know. The thing that still bums me out is the reduced development team. But maybe if it's grassroots, it doesn't matter. And if grassroots or outside organizations supporting heroes does relay a positive impression back to Blizzard, they could always re-strategize and re-push the game. I'm skeptical about it, though, because it's still up against League and Dota in the state that it's in. And that change can't come from an outside party. Those changes have to come from the people making the game, and with less and less people on it, that's less and less likely to have a fundamental restructure of the game. Like, any broad changes that require a large amount of think and manpower are not happening for this game. They're out. When I say I want the map editor, it's not like they're going to program a feature-rich, user-friendly map editor. I'm just actually suggesting give us the tools, the proprietary tools you use internally for us to play with at this point. So, you know, that's not likely to happen, but you never know. But thank you for that, Hooven. I didn't know that. Hey, Crit151, thank you for your Twitch Prime subscription. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, and the Return of Chair League. I mean, all those community-driven ones are fun too, but I think when we say a league, we're looking to have the professionals. Looked at my follows list, and I can see Mene, Kaldor, and Fan all playing heroes right now. Well, the funny thing about this news is that it has rallied people, and, you know, it's driven a lot of people to core yesterday, and there's a lot of people here watching me even, I think, for just blathering, because it's big news, and that's normal. And so it's funny, I see a lot of people streaming it, but that's like the short term, right? Like, it's everyone's watching the house burn down right now. So once the house burns down, that's when we'll see, you know, that. There was a part of me that was a little bit like about tonight, let me stream some heroes because, you know, there's a lot the house is burning down and people come hang out. But I don't know that I really felt like playing it given my emotions over the past 24 hours. And as you can see, I'm pretty tired, so we're just gonna chat and then I'm gonna go. I think I just needed to get shit off my chest because I was at work today and I have nobody to bitch at about this at all, and I don't feel like posting 2 sentences on Twitter and have them get misconstrued. Yeah. Kaldor talked for several hours and basically did an AMA. Yeah, I contemplated tuning in to that, and the only reason why I turned my stream on was because I just said I think I just needed to talk about things more on my own. But yeah, I might tune in for that later. I've been watching the various comments. I didn't watch Trixler's yet. I definitely want to see. You know, but I was watched J House, and I saw MF Pallytime's video today, and I watched Kala's statement, and I don't know, did I miss any other big ones that were out there? Trixler had one, and you were saying I should called or did an AMA. So I want to watch that. You just realized the background is a TWD map and not snowflakes. Yeah. It's my overlay for the one I did a Dungeon Masters answer questions thing, and I made the middle of the Dead Fingers map transparent. So yeah. This is so Solamio says this is from feelings and just thoughts. The events and new of recent months. My feeling is that Blizzard has always been a more laid-back t-shirt, shorts, and sandals kind of environment, but lately there seem to be more suits in the upper management. That feeling is a disconnect between the people who love the games and those that are just there for the corporate. I mean, that's not an uncommon scenario, I would imagine, for any corporation, especially a future-thinking kind that, you know, might have paid lunches and do that kind of stuff. I haven't really worked for a company in my lifetime. They were good to employees, but not in the way that I hear described at Blizzard. So I can only guess at what that is. Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is Activision's fault. And I kind of feel like even if that's true, I feel like that lets Blizzard off the hook. I feel like Blizzard name on the damn thing. Blizzard, for better or worse, ended up in bed with Activision. I know there's a whole thing with that, and it's not as simple as that, but ultimately, that's where they find themselves. And, you know, it doesn't, oh my god, that bug is still here. I'm gonna ultimately you gotta hold them accountable. They're one and the same. So I don't know that it's useful in any way to think about it like, oh, it's Activision's fault. Like, somehow identifying that as a problem makes anything different, right? So yeah, I don't know. No, I think people are flirting with me who just came into the chat. Hello there. Man is upset at video game. Yes, that's exactly. You've titled. I should change my stream title to that. You've nailed it. Anyways, so the fact that the what's going on internally, like, is almost of, it'd be interesting to know, but that would be up to them to tell us. And since they are not, I think speculating is a bit of a waste of time. So yeah. All right. People are in here having some fun, so we can fix that. All right. Hey, Monica, are you around? Oh, you're playing Heroes? That's cool. There we go. Dun 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 dun. You see, for the people that came in here, they really picked the wrong stream to F with. I really don't care. So enjoy. They all came in 3 times, so it's either like a bunch of, it's like a bot that's like sophisticated and use like more than one account, or it's just 3 people that are like, let's go mess with this person. But yeah, good times. Wow, you normally don't get so many trolls. Yeah, well, the viewer counts, I mean, it's higher than it's than I've ever had it, so I'm sure this comes up. You know, the higher your stream is, probably in a certain category, I assume, the more likely you are to see some bullshit. But yeah, it's funny is that, like, I assume it works or gets under some people's skin and gets like a reaction that is satisfying in some way. Like, I assume that happens. Like, I've been doing this online thing for a long time. I'm just like, what? Like, it's hilarious. Oh, well, thank you, Lashes. How long have you been here? I haven't been the kindest person. Actually, it's not true. I've been all right, but you know, still, a lot of thoughts, a lot of lost in my feelings over the past couple of days. But it's very nice of you to say. You're very beautiful, and I love you too. You came in to squash some haters. Yeah, I know. Well, they just got here a few minutes ago. This chat channel's been nothing but love, and you know, everyone letting ourselves feel the things we're feeling right now, and that's how it's going. Sorry, I've been talking for 2 hours straight. I thought maybe I'd stream some Heroes, and I've been talking. Like, I don't know if you just got here, Bethany, but I've been going at it for 2 hours about everything. Lockervich, I'm sure you've been getting this all day, but I really enjoyed your take on recent news about HOTS, and I just wanted to say I agree. Well, thank you. And it's funny, I was actually a little worried about, even before like the news, the Jalen's post came out, I was actually nervous about doing a show this week because we talked about the XP change the week before, and I haven't gotten. I've been very fortunate in that I've never really gotten a nasty. Like, Scott gets them all the time, and we have a few bad iTunes reviews. I think one time I was a little bit, maybe I sounded critical of America, and we got a 1-star review saying I didn't come in for anti-American propaganda. You know, just weird, funny stuff. But like, last week's episode was the first time I had people tweet at me and message me to call me an asshole and to say I was a Blizzard apologist and to run me through the ringer because, you know, I called some professional players a little spoiled, maybe, and a little, you know, anyways. So, you know, I was nervous coming back on this week, and then, you know, we were doing it about this topic, and I'm like, oh, great, it's going to be... I just want to say positive things, you know, and I was worried about it, but we just let it be what it was going to be, and so thank you. I appreciate hearing that, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because we did the show last night. Chat was going by real fast, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it, and I didn't watch back the chat, so I got some nice feedback on Twitter over the course of the day, but I still wasn't feeling... It just helps, you know, because like I said on the show, I think this game has produced the most friendships and opportunities for me, and I really cherish it, but I also want to be able to be mad while also, I don't know, just maintaining a respectful disposition, I suppose. And not be called a Blizzard apologist, but just be a person, you know? So, yeah. Yeah. That was intense. Yeah, does anyone have anything else they want to, you know, if you ask me a question, I can go for 20 minutes, but I think I need like a few more, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up. My throat's getting super sore. And I don't think I'm going to stream any games tonight, but we will do D&D tomorrow on Scott's stream, so that'll be fun. Does anyone want to know any secrets about tomorrow? Anyone have any There Will Be Dungeons questions? I have to check to make sure Revan Dawn's not in here. He's a cheater. Doesn't look like he's here. Well, JD, I don't know that I've seen you in chat before, but yeah, I think some people just decide to come in and mess with me. What's funny is we do a show called Good, Bad, or Bullshit. My two friends from Ottawa, and I started this because I wanted to be a podcaster. I wanted to be a podcaster, you know. So I was like, you start your own show and do your own thing. So I play with my friends, and like we stream it on Twitch. And Monica, Clown Baby, and Lord Shaper are regular viewers, and a few others that are probably in here. But we get about 4 or 5 viewers. And literally, whenever I would do that show or do the other show, there'd always be someone in there, like just saying, like there'd be no chat for the whole show. Nowadays, you guys actually chat a lot more on Good, Bad, or Bullshit, but there'd be no chat except for someone in there to personally insult us, like every episode. So it's just like there's this endless mob of, I assume, 12-year-olds that are logging into the internet for the first time every day. There's a new 12-year-old somewhere on the internet logging in, probably hundreds. And I mean, we used to do prank calls and stuff like that at that age all the time, but now they look anonymous just because they have some weird username, and they're getting their jollies off of going into some, 40-year-olds. Look at this 40-year-old, and he's complaining about video games. What a fucking loser! This is hilarious. Just ignore it. Like, that's good. There's just nothing you can do about that. I think a lot of children and a lot of immature adults are all going through their things, and just gotta turn them off. Just see what it is. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you like Good, Bad, or Bullshit. I'm always happy to find someone who listens to it, because I see the stats on that one. You are part of a very small audience, sir. But thank you, or ma'am. But thank you. The game is as good as it's been. I might ever enjoy it. I agree. I like the changes. I like Orphea. I like the event was great. There's, the only regret about this week's episode of Core was spending so much time on that, because prior to that, everything was going to be good. I like the Stitches changes. John, I don't think he does, and the Sylvanas changes are positive but need work. But like everything about the state of the game is as good as it's ever been. So, and time will tell. That's why I say we're not going to be stopping doing Heroes content for Core in the foreseeable future, because we just got some bad news. We will see how things play out, and make decisions based on actions, not on hyperbole, I suppose. The egg thing made me throw up a little in my mouth. Just the thought of it is disgusting. Oh, yeah. See, that's a well, I mean, if you're a listener of Scott shows, and you know what that's about, that's just part of it. We did get a review on, I think it was the US iTunes, and in all caps, if you go to the store now and see it, you'll see it's in all bowls, like they're very obsessed with penises. And then, like, I think technically speaking, if you were to measure it out in time, it's less than 1% of the show that there's penis or crude humor related things happening. But I guess they just stand out so much. And if you're a bit of a prude, you're probably noticing it more too, because it's making you uncomfortable, I suppose, is not your thing. Or it's ruining your D&D immersion. And yeah. Anyway, so if you feel like reviewing TWBD on iTunes just to push that review down, you got like a spare minute tonight or this weekend, I want to just give it whatever rating you want. But that, and it was a lot. It's like a novel. Like a lot of the reviews on the iTunes store are like, oh, it's a great show, I love it, or it's kind of okay, it's for, but like this one's like, they're obsessed with penises, the novel, and by Sapphire, and or whatever. It's just like it's an enormous freaking post that details all the times, you know, that we made an issue out of a character. Like, for anyone listening who doesn't know, Scott's character is a eunuch, so he doesn't have a penis. So it gets talked about a lot because it's, you know, funny, and we're like 13-year-olds. And you know, there's magic in the world, so you can grow magic limbs, and so you can use your imagination to fill out the rest and all that. And I allow those kinds of shenanigans in my games. I could see people wanting to have a little more serious. Can't even say Critical Role because they're swearing and doing weird stuff in that game all the time. So I don't know what you can point to as a model for like a serious D&D game, but there are those people who, you know, don't want to sit down and listen or play D&D and have it be about poop. You know, they want it to focus on a more professional, or I don't know. It's not the way around the game, so whatever it is, clearly we were a disappointment. Yeah, so I actually what do you guys think will happen when he eats the egg? That was last week's cliffhanger. Or it doesn't eat it, he puts his tongue on the froghemoth egg. Okay. Well, I just asked a question, so while you guys think about that, Lucas says, you want some completely off-topic questions while we wind down? Sure. I mean, it was quiet for a while there, and then the trolls came in. And then Lashes came in and saved the day by giving me a nice compliment unexpectedly. And it was nice. You know what? I don't know if you're still here, Bethany, but I'm... One of my regrets is that we didn't get a chance to talk or hang out, I think, at all. Like, I think, you know, we waved hello at House of Blues or whatever, but like, and like said hi, but it was like loud and hard to hear. I just feel like when I go to BlizzCon, I don't take nearly enough advantage of the opportunity to speak with people, and I think I just get starstruck when I'm around developers and tongue-tied and weird, and then just hang out with John, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine over here. And it might just because there's a lot going on and I don't want to be imposing, but I always feel like I miss opportunities in that regard. Like the whole time I could have gone to the line and like did that thing near the streamer booth, and I just didn't. I don't even know why I didn't even think of it. Like I thought that's for paying customers who come and like I don't want to take up the line, and I probably totally could. I just don't know why I get that way. But I'm regretful. But at least I got to talk to Kyle. It was like literally the highlight of my weekend was just listening to him jam and just talking about Heroes. I could have done that till 7 in the morning with him, but I also didn't want to keep him tied up all night. Okay. Well, thanks, Rhinotes. TWBD is the best D&D show out there. You guys are great together. Well, thank you. I think as long as we're having a good time, I think people listening will have a good time. I worry a little bit sometimes when we get a little bogged down in combat. Combat seems to take a while. And I know Kyle's self-identified this during our games. And I think there is a little bit of downtime between turns, like, what move am I doing? What move am I doing? It's like, you're the barbarian. Why are you thinking? You know, like, what's there to consider? I attack! So, you know. But I feel like definitely it seems like in Kyle's case, he's more of a wizard usually type player. He's he'll play a character that is a thinker. So he's doing something new and challenging, which is exciting and the thing you should totally do. Yeah. So there's likely going to, I think I can announce it here. I don't think I have to wait till tomorrow. There's likely going to be an off week for TWBD, but those of us still around may do a one shot and may change up some roles around, including characters and stuff. So if you're into that, be excited. As I am. Because I want to play a character. Just one, you know, I'll go back to DMing, but it's always nice to play a character too. You guys are great together. So yeah, Dong Talk, Crude Humor is where my D&D group lives. Yeah, I think so. think a lot of groups are like that. Yeah, if you're a few months behind, just you don't have to address the other thing. Just say I love the show, 5 stars or something like that. We just need to push that review. I don't want the first. If I have one ask, because I don't want people to load up who don't know anything about There'll Be Dungeons and see these guys are obsessed with penises, even though it's I don't know. It can be a part of the review because it was honest and that's what it's there for. I just don't want it to be the #1 thing on the iTunes store. Unless you give it 5 stars and say these guys are obsessed with penises, it's great. Okay. Yeah, that's true, Dersham. You got a good point. Professional in D&D is kind of weird. Maybe not professional, but pure, mature. I'm not sure what the tastes it forever and ever comment was about, but I feel like it was something funny that I missed. Oh, this is about the froghemoth egg. You want nothing to happen. And it takes forever and ever. And then chest burster? I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely within the realm of ideas. Nothing's decided yet. All that's decided is actually nothing's decided yet. I might say it tastes like sugar and it's sweet. You should just eat it for good protein. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm working on it tomorrow morning. Maybe tonight. Because a froghemoth egg, there are no official rules in the monster manual or Volos or anywhere I can find, even regarding their procreation. I just, said I made that part up about froghemoths in my campaign. And I kind of put the eggs there for a bit of visual descriptive flavor. I was actually surprised that I shouldn't have been, because when it came up, I went, wait a second, I should have known this was coming. I should have seen this, but I didn't. And I put the eggs there for a visual flavor to increase the horror of this Sarlacc pit monster, and that it has eggs, and to just, like, if the froghemoth had been left asleep and they were sneaking around it to make the steps in the slime and goo be like that they had to be careful walking through, and if they disturbed the eggs, the froghemoth might awaken, or they were that was kind of my headspace with the eggs to increase the challenge and the atmosphere of terror about sneaking through this lair of the froghemoth. Varel did the Varel thing, which was really cool and good, and I'm glad he did it that way. But then the possibility to mess with the eggs, to just mess with the eggs, came up, and now I have to deal with it. I didn't. Technically, I don't know what happens. I'm like you, and I'll have to make a decision. I have ideas though, and Chestburster was among them. Although I think the ectoplasm, no, it couldn't be that way, because ectoplasm wouldn't have any reproductive. I don't think would have any reproductive content, for lack of a better word, in the plasma, the placenta, the whatever you want to call it. If it indeed is an egg, which I'm also still, I'm pretty sure they're eggs. I'm pretty sure they're eggs. Yeah, Critical Role is a big group. It is 4 is the sweet spot. I think generally just Wizards of the Coast, the manuals suggest that 4 is the sweet spot for an ideal D&D game. So that was one thing that we were worried about with respect, or I was worried about with respect to the show, is the more people you have, the more crosstalk you have. And everyone on there is a professional podcaster person, and they let the other person speak, except for me, who I know I interrupt John and Scott all the freaking time on Core. So, which kind of works for Dungeons and Dragons, because if the stream gets quiet, I will just shoot words out. But it's 4 is ideal, I think, just even for that too, because and this happens, like, we've had home games with like 6 or 7 people, and they're way less disciplined than There'll Be Dungeons. You know, I'll be trying to do something with the DM, and instead of everyone paying attention to my section, everyone starts having a mini chat about something on their character sheet. Like, it happens all the time. And in more casual games, like, we've had a few instances where it's like, okay, can we give, especially my friend Mike, who's very quiet, can we shut up and listen to what Mike's doing and follow along, just out of respect? When it's your turn, we're going to do the same for you. But people are drinking and they're quick to forget, and it can be a tough situation. So it's really good on the part of the players that I play with on the show, that they allow everyone their time to shine as they need to. So that's cool. Something I like to say about TBD is I like the smaller group. I struggle. Oh, I read that already. We all would. Don't sell yourself short, please. Be cock and fies. You are on Core when you stream Twitch. You know your shit. Love you, brother. Be cock and fies. I'm just teasing. It's you know, I think it's got something got misspelled. Or really confident, right? Thank you. The time between turns can be good. Build suspense. Oh, be as confident as you ate on Core. God damn it. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, JD_B79. Lord Shaper says, in the game I'm playing in, it took us 3 sessions of 3 hours per session to have us get through 6 rooms because we were taking too long. 3 sessions of 3 hours per session to get through 6 rooms because we were taking too long. Yeah, so that's D&D. Usually we get through 10%. At any given time, we've gone through 10% of what I've prepped for next week. And it's never bad to over prep. At least in this case, because I know we're meeting every week. When I over prep for games like at home that I know it's once every 2 months, and then no one's going to remember what happens 2 months later, you've really got to shrink. 3 rooms can be a whole session. I mean, look how long we spent in Slavetown. That was not by my design. Well, it's somewhat by my design. I accept responsibility for it. But, like, I think, not Slavetown, but Trashburg. I think in Trashburg, I wanted to give the players, like, I had 10 different ways that they could have taken into the keep. That involved, like, a quest, or them being clever, or, you know, and I think maybe there's a little too much. Because, you know, they picked up a lot of the different threads, and we spent a lot of the different episodes going to the threads, and then the decision was made to, I don't know, help Monsoon Cabbage and find this, get his information in and find out all about that. Heavy Pets just went AFK and I'm talking about penis. Well, he had to be there. Where do I live in Canada? We stay north of Kingston for a couple weeks every year. God's country. I'm in Ottawa, the nation's capital. Currently doused in snow. But yes, I live in the inner city area of Ottawa. Without being too specific. So those spammers don't come and, I don't know, SWAT or dox me or whatever it is they do. They were saying they were going to do or whatever. All that's decided is Nash licked it. I don't trust anything Magard of the Solar Mines and his pet collection. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. The thing is, there are a lot of player companions right now. I should say there are a lot of player companions right now. And I tried to pass over ownership. That didn't happen, so you know, I need to roleplay all the monsters and NPCs. I don't want to end up roleplaying 8 different player companions. There must be a way to solve this as Dungeon Master. Alright, Heavy Pet's back on the Heroes thing. The word is that there still is money in the Blizzard esports budget for HOTS. Blizzard just won't support the whole HGC league. They're talking about a return to what HOTS was before the HGC. Well, I don't know where that information comes from, but if true, you know, I never thought that. It always seemed to me that the way that HGC was started was to help fuel growth in it from outside, to help spur and show that there's investment here. And I think we can all say for sure that that hasn't happened. So it's just Blizzard propping up the thing. And so even if they have the money and it's not what they wanted, I kind of don't blame them. The suddenness of everything is what's harmful, reputation wise and just generally to people in the immediate. But there's a conversation to be had as to whether or not a company should continue going about doing things in a way that they've evaluated as wrong, where perhaps the community or perhaps outside organizations can pick it up, or the company is better able, without impacting a pro scene that they themselves are working on, to change and update a game. Like in theory, without a pro scene to worry about, they're now free to experiment, and in a freer way that is less impactful to people who are, you know, in the pro scene, so to speak. So in a way, it's liberating, and then maybe the game can get to, and this is just me, just, you know, blue skying, thinking out loud, that the game could fundamentally change in some huge way that puts it in position to collect players of a certain caliber and to jumpstart a scene that is much more in line with the larger gaming community's perspective on what a skilled MOBA looks like. Then maybe the company's like, then we can talk about refueling money and updating heroes at that point. So that's one way to look at it. I think that's not wrong, I hope. So yeah, it might, you know, that story that they don't have money, that Activision's come down to crack down, and that's the sole reason. That's conjecture. That's not based on any facts that I'm aware of. At least that's been communicated to me from a reliable, knowledgeable, authoritative source. That's Reddit. That's stuff inferred from the Kotaku article. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it could be that, yeah, we totally can afford it, but we don't like the long-term direction of it, so we're going to take it. Like, there's a couple of different perspectives on the conversation, and if we take away the fact that it was sudden, and if we take away the fact that I don't think it was communicated poorly, in the sense that, you know, the press releases were well worded and sorrowful, and KO's statement today was really, I think, good, like well written and worded in a very good way, in a very genuine way. Like, that there wasn't problems with the timing, and there wasn't problems with, you know, like I said, I think if all the players sort of end up landing safely and being disappointed, because you're going to be disappointed, there's no way to not be disappointed, but at least if they can feel like they've walked away not just feeling used, then this could be a good decision for them. I don't like that they've removed developers from the team. That's a different conversation though, which I already got into. So But yeah, it still sucks. I think any D&D player would take an egg from any creature in the hopes that one day they would be able to raise it as a pet. Yeah, that's probably... I probably need to think about that more. I got talked into DMing my first time. A one-shot for some friends. 5 players total. At least one of them having never played. I'm looking forward to and dreading when we play. So, 1 encounter per hour. Your first hour or 2 might be everyone meeting each other. Actually, if they're new players. If they're new players, it's everyone meeting each other. Then maybe plan out 2 more encounters if you're playing for 6 hours. If it's the kind of night where you're going to be explaining how combat works throughout the whole duration, with some like, hey, I'm the bad guy. Let me give you an opportunity to talk me out of violence first if you have players who want to do that. You know, something like that. You know, like just... Yeah. But if they're all like super great at D&D, then I don't know. Then tell them to deal with your shortcomings and just do what you want, I suppose. And Kyle said it was right? Yeah. Four is the ideal number for active players. If you have a couple of players that are audience members that are just there to hang out with friends and chuck dice and combat can work out. Yeah. Alinity is in a hot tub. God damn it, show more cleavage. Wait. Should I be in a hot tub? Is that right on, we got Sharbut. We fish Sharbut take every year. Okay. I'm not confirming anyone's dying, Sir Charles. I was just stroking my beard. All right. Thanks for hanging out, Lord Shaper. Enjoy your time with your daughter. I like those tournaments Caldor used to do where teams couldn't repeat picks game from game. Hero pool shrunk every round. Got wacky. I like that. That's why I was sort of a fan of... I was sort of a fan of the idea of like, let's not balance maps. Let's just get new ones every quarter. Like, let's just throw new ones in all the time and force players to deal with new situations and have part of your skill set be adaptable to changing situations, which is kind of what Heroes does, but the players are so well practiced on these maps and they contain no variation from game to game that we have a meta of maps they want to play, and then Warhead Junction is somehow a bad map. And I love playing on Warhead. I love playing on Warhead Junction. And, you know, unfortunately, a feels good map to casual is perceived by casuals as not a great map to play because the professionals are never picking it in their damn games because they're not cycling through maps and throwing new maps in there quick enough. I think personally. And another interesting idea is taking a page out of Diablo's book and having, and they may have already experimented with this and didn't like it, but having the map never be quite the same, if that makes sense. Like the camps are a little bit different places, and the geography between lanes are a little bit different. Because I don't know, maybe that's a bad thing. I can't for sure say that would be a good thing, but I think from the initial time that Heroes started, I expected it to be more wacky, than it ended up being. And I think the professional community is always there to break your game because they're trying to reduce variation or reduce variance in their performance and leverage the things they can exploit to give them a win advantage. So their feedback is always going to be, oh, I hate this, when it doesn't help them accomplish those goals or makes it too hard to accomplish those goals. Which is why, you know, you'll have them push more and more for a meta and they'll always pick the same maps. That's not a fault of theirs. That's how it has to be for them. So Caldor reducing the hero pools is an example of that. Because if you always had the same hero pool at the start of every match, then that's why your team comps kind of always look the same, maybe. But what if there's like a meta strategy about holding on to Li Ming till the last match, or what? No, they picked her first. And maybe banned heroes could still be picked up in subsequent matches. I don't know. Did Calder have bans in his games? I would say if somebody was banned, they were still probably maybe legal for subsequent games or something like that. There'd still be bans for the subsequent games. It's interesting. The other thing I thought of for tournament seasons when I submitted my ideas for Team League Arena was variations in seasons, mutators like they have in co-op commanders for that. Like mutators could be something like your map pool and your hero pool in HGC seasons could somehow be modified. Like your first map has to be Warcraft heroes and the second map has to be Starcraft, or I don't know, something like that. Like I don't know. That would require a lot of thought in order not to put your professional players in revolt, I suppose, but I don't know. There's something there. There's something there that could be done for mutators. The idea being that the better players will be more adaptable to a crazy, unstable environment, which again carves out the unique space, I think, between something like Summoner's Rift, which does see changes year from year, but it's basically like an ice hockey rink. It's not super exciting because it's always the same. So, the best game ever broadcast on HGC was a 6-minute Braxis holdout when Roll20 crushed whoever it was using. Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good game. I mean, the problem is that's like that game is a nightmare scenario for a professional team. So the team they crushed were good. I think that's variance. That's like an example of like sometimes you're just going to lose having done everything right because that's variance. And you pray it doesn't hit you on an elimination match or a clutch match, and then it doesn't tilt you if it's early in a series. Because that's just variance. And that's what you're trying to eliminate the odds of variance like that, like as a professional player. But for us at home, we love that shit. I played Hero League today, and like I've had 2 Hero League games so far in the season that I've started, and they both felt really good, and I felt amazing playing in them. I played Arthas and I played Tychus, and both times I was last pick, and both times I picked a character that went with my team comp, but that also crushed the comp of the enemy team. Arthas, so powerful against the right teams. Tychus, they were double tank and they went double mage, and it was just working super good. And it's like probably on a professional level, there's probably like 5,000 mistakes that were made, but that doesn't matter to me. You know, I had a good time. So yeah, and like that's Plat 1. I was playing at Plat 1. I think I'm going to place. So far, of the 2 games I won, I've been playing with Plat 1 players, so I think probably I'll place Plat 1. Maybe we'll make Diamond again and stay there. It depends, but I don't think I'm going to play. That's the problem with working a full-time job, is now I'm like, I need to play when I feel like I'm in a good state of mind to play, and it's like I'm tired in the evenings. You know, I don't want to do that to other players. Anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up for me. That's 2.5 hours of me talking. My throat is now done. So thank you, everyone, for coming and hanging out. I am flattered by your patronage. And for those who tossed me some subs in again, I know I don't stream too much, but I am appreciative of the extra few bucks you throw my way. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for the wonderful compliments you've paid me today. And even if you didn't say anything, I take it as a compliment that you're here. And I don't know if you're still around, Bethany, but I did actually intend to message you at some point after the con, but I just procrastinated because, you know, I got busy, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it this week, I'll do it next week, and then this all came up, so I was just going to email you separately just to say thanks for everything. So I will do that, so expect to hear that from me. Okay, well, that's going to be it for me. It's no games tonight, but there will be dungeons tomorrow. I'm going to get a good sleep tonight so that we have a really good show for you tomorrow. And who knows, maybe we'll get some game streaming in. Maybe we'll play some Heroes on Sunday or something like that. We'll see how it goes. She's eating dinner. How do you know that? Did she say that? I think I read all the chat. All right. Well, I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. But I will message you separately this weekend, Bethany. Okay. Have a good night.